We're at the home of Lynn Park, who's a friend of mine, and he's got at least a barn find Cobra or two, and I can't say that I found them. Lynn found them, and so we're going to take a look, and he's got stories to tell about each one. So really, really amazing to be able to find a 289 Cobra in this day and age that the people who owned them just neglected and ignored them. So let's go inside and take a look. Wow, so I haven't seen this yet. Wow.
There is Dirtbag himself.
This is authentic right here.
That's Dirtbag just as it was found. That car sat in a fellow's backyard for 20 years, and I've had it the last 22 years. Anyway, one of the Offenhauser guys bought it. He drove it till 1974 or 5, and something quit. And he doesn't remember what. Parked it in the backyard under a blue tarp. And it sat. Everybody knew it was there. People tried to buy it. But the wife was just cranky. She said, no way, get out of here. A friend of ours went over there with a suitcase full of cash and tried to buy it. And she said, I'm not impressed with your money, get out of here. Yeah.
How far away from here?
20 miles.
Had you ever seen the car?
No. I'd seen the blue tarp.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty, because it was outside the whole time.
Now, it got rained on.
That's why the paint's so bad, because, you know, the blue tarp, it would sweat and then dry out and sweat and dry out.
Is that original color?
No. It was red, and he had Shelby paint it for him when he bought it.
Mm-hmm. So how did you luck into buying it?
Don Lee actually smooth talked the lady into selling it. And he loaded it up on his trailer and brought her over here and said, Lynn, look what I got. Let's make a race car out of it. I said, Don, that's too much work. And this is before a barn find was in.
Yeah,
I mean, at that point, it's just a used up Cobra. So he said, I want to make a race car. I said, no way. I said, let's find a race car. It'll be cheaper in the long run.
Uh-huh.
So we found one. He needed a lot of parts for that car that I happened to have. So I said, okay, I got all these parts. He said, okay, let's make a deal. So we traded a bunch of parts, and I gave him some money, and I got the car. But at that point, I was going to restore the car. No one wanted a ratty car like this.
Yeah.
Carol Shelby saw it and said, Lynn, we were at one of the Cobra days at the Peterson Museum. And he said, look at all these shiny cars. No one's looking at them. They're all over here looking at this thing. He said, you ought to leave this alone.
Isn't that something?
And I said, you know what? If it's good enough for Shelby, it's good enough for me.
What condition was it like the interior of the seats? What were they like?
I don't tell very many people this, but those aren't the seats that came in the car. They were gone.
Yeah.
The mice had eaten them up. So I had another pair of old seats that I put in. Mm-hmm. But the dash is the same. The steering wheel's the same.
Carpeting?
Carpeting is the same.
Mm-hmm. Tonneau cover?
Tonneau cover. I can't remember if it was on the... I think it was, though, because the paint under here is all cracked and horrible.
Yeah. Now the steering wheel's the same?
Yeah. I had to do a lot of work to it.
I bet.
Because it had delaminated. So I've got a lot of time with glue and clamps.
Mm-hmm. So you've had this car 20...
Since 1995.
And so, it was sitting outside for 20...
20 years, 20 or 21. Nobody's real sure. But...
Did they buy it new, the Offenhauser family? They bought it new. So you're the second owner.
They bought it new, and the worst part of that, he doesn't remember what didn't work. He said, we parked it for some reason. So...
And the value of the car, did they have a garage? Could they put it in a garage?
They would have, but it would have meant that their 68 Chevy had to sit outside.
Jeez, man. Does it have the original motor in it?
Oh yeah, I have never taken the original motor apart. I
cranked
it over.
Show it to us?
I cranked it over to see if it would turn over.
Uh-huh.
By hand, and it did. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, so nothing's broken. Mm-hmm. I put a carburetor on it. I put a water pump and a fuel pump.
Now, how many miles were on it?
I think 30,000.
When you got it?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Which is a lot for a car that's, 5 years old, essentially.
Yeah. 38,000 now.
Yeah. It smoked like the devil. But Marvel Mystery Oil to the rescue.
Yeah.
Put that in the crankcase, and it smoked less and less and less. And now it doesn't smoke at all unless you let it sit like 30 or 40 minutes and start it, you'll get a little puff. Mm-hmm. But I said, it needs to smoke. It's Dirtbag.
Yeah. And so that's the other barn find? I mean, or do you have another barn find?
The orange one.
The orange one. Oh, okay. That's a race car.
That is a race car that was an SCCA racer, so it's not a pro racer that's all pretty. It's a weekend warrior that got changed with the rules every year. You can see remnants of an old hood scoop when the hood scoop was legal for bee production. Then all of a sudden it wasn't, so they welded it up. The flares kept getting bigger.
And so, where did you find this car?
This car was in Sacramento, a little town outside of Sacramento. But the last time I really saw it before I was able to buy it, Gordon Gimbel's wife died, and there was a funeral up there. I think that was 2003 or so. And I went over and talked to him again, got him a bunch of parts. He was really enthusiastic at that point about making it run again. So I got him all the suspension pieces he needed to put it back together. 8 years later, when I went and bought it, it was all the parts were laying there, not touched.
I'm looking at how the stones beat the inside of the fenders here.
Yeah, this was a car.
You gotta check this out.
A lot of races.
This is an aluminum body, so when stones get chipped up from the tires, like sticky race tires might pick up stones. Look, it's like an acne finish. Jeez. Do you still race this?
Yes. Yeah. And so I put the engine back together with older parts to kind of look like it was, then. The best part about this, the motor was not in the car. So I said to Gary, I said, what are we going to do for a motor? He said, we'll just go pick it up. It's at the machine shop. I said, how long has it been at the machine shop? 40 years.
Oh,
and it was still there.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
So
it runs well?
It runs perfectly.
It races well?
Yeah, it really does. This car, it's not the most powerful motor I've got, but because of the roll cage and all the stiffness that it provides, the car handles better than any of them. But it is just so, everybody said, well, Lynn, you've got to restore it. You've got to at least get rid of the cage. I said, no, this shows what a lot of Cobras were. They weren't the pretty boy racers. They were just old race cars that got used every weekend.
So tell me, I mean, here are two Cobras you've found. How many barn find Cobras are left out there? Do you figure, either you know about or you suspect?
Yeah, I don't know of any for sure. Everybody says, oh, I think there's one. I think there's one. A buddy of mine took me one, and from the street in the guy's garage down it looked like a Cobra, but no, it was an old Mercedes. Okay. But the grill was gone, and it kind of had the right shape, but it wasn't. I don't know if there's very many left. I don't know. There's bound to be a couple.
Mm-hmm. So now you have to, if you want one, you have to build one. You might as well give us a tour of the one.
Yeah.
You don't mind people knowing that it's...
No, I don't want people to think that I'm trying to fool them.
All right, so Lynn just said that there's probably not, maybe one, maybe none, barn find Cobras left. Believe it or not, this is a brand new Cobra. This is a brand new body, a brand new chassis, but it looks old. Lynn has been saving parts, Cobra parts, for decades. So he built this car with old parts, but it's actually a new aluminum body. Kirkham body?
Kirkham car. But I also used some old suspension that I had, A-arms that were damaged that I repaired, brakes that were old that people had replaced or I had replaced on other people's cars. Just old stuff. The seat belts, they're not necessarily Cobra seat belts, but they are the same as a Cobra seat belts. I don't want people to think that I took a lot of original Cobra parts that should be on an original car.
Right.
eBay is loaded with this stuff.
No kidding. Huh.
I mean, if you want a Cobra steering wheel, you don't have to make one look, you don't have to buy an old one. You buy a new one and make it look old. Moto Leader. But this happens to be an old wheel, and it isn't my favorite, but it's a good old steering wheel.
What does this engine look like? Jeez, it looks like it's overheated.
Yeah.
This car was a pile of components how long ago? 2 years ago or something?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. And did you put all this mud on here and stuff?
Yeah, I found a mud puddle that just called to me. Well, mainly I started off, I had old tires, but they were wobbling. I drove it and I said, this car does not feel good to drive. So I went down and bought a brand new set of tires. Well, they looked too new, so I had to find some muddy water to drive through.
Oh, yeah.
So it had just rained, and Angeles Crest Highway has got some good turnouts with mud puddles in them. So I went there and...
So, I mean, people at shows you go to, they're probably pissed off at you like crazy.
Not as many as I thought would be.
Really?
they love, I think they wish they had thought of it themselves.
Yeah. That's amazing. And so it does not have a serial number.
No, it's got an AC serial number. We started with an AC chassis and title.
Is that right?
So, but I don't want to tell people what the number is for fear they'll.
Yep.
So I leave that alone.
Well, that's cool. Wow.
Mickey Thompson tie-in. I was going to put Mickey Thompson valve covers on it. I said, no, I can't do that.
What was the Mickey Thompson story of this?
The guy that owned this knew Michael Goodwin is the fellow that got convicted of having Mickey Thompson killed.
Huh. Goodwin. Now, Goodwin raced this?
Yeah.
Did he really?
In the 60s.